Radio Moscow's #1 late night show. Tonight's special guest is American host and broadcaster Comrade Bill Domino.
I'm
Welcome.
gonna wait. I'm gonna need you to start that over.
All right.
You weren't live until you're up on the screen.
Okay, so you're editing it, so no problem.
So I'm gonna just take myself off the screen and then you can start over. And it's Damiano, like piano. Ready?
Oh, sorry. What's going on?
Hit the music, Igor.
Okay.
Draga Jacepak Dajonov, Pishko Josiketu Pushka Nedia Musica Radio Moscow. Welcome to another telecast of Music with the Major. Moscow Radio's #1 late night music show. Tonight, special guest in cultural reaching out to appreciate other cultures' music is radio host and broadcaster Comrade Bill Domino from the United States of America. Welcome, Comrade Bill, to Radio Moscow. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you for asking. So you are the American host of the decadent shows called Building the Scene and Other American Programming, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Comrade Bill, can you tell our audience a little bit about your background in the sense, what was the first music you heard and how did you come to lead to where you are today?
So probably, wow. First music. That's like 46 years ago, Major.
Comrade Bill, you do not recall the first song that inspired you to listen further to music?
So going that way, I would say the first album that I heard that really got me into music was Kiss Destroyer.
We hear this Kiss. Bunch of gentlemen dress up like dragon ladies and play decadent rock and roll.
Yes, that's
there are millions of music, and then the Mr. Simmons, they market like capitalists.
Yes.
Very good. So the follow-up question was, what was the first rock song you remember hearing to this day?
It was probably
Shout It Out
Loud. Probably Shout It Out Loud off of the same album.
Shout It Out Loud. The decadent Kiss song, I believe, to fret Americans up to frenzy. Very good. Very good choice for adolescent youth. Comrade Bill, American music seems to change with the decades. Hippie music, punk and new wave, 80s, hair band, metal, R&B, hip-hop, country. So what do you see coming as the dynamic force in music for the next decade?
Oh, that's a tough question. Wow.
Every decade, American music seems to have new journey into new shoes, as they say.
My kids, who are significantly younger than me, they tend to listen to a lot of pop, and pop music. You know, even what's called country now here in the States is very much pop. So I think
the American rednecks sing about the dog and pickup truck and drinking all night and chasing women in skirt. Correct?
That sounds like classic country.
Classic country. Nostrovia, my friend. Very good. Country American country girl. They're very cute looking American video. We do have popular music American station here at the Moscow. They play all your latest hits like This Is Story About a Man Named Jed. Castaways here, long time. Rice of Roni. All kind of song like that. We learn to speak English from.
The San Francisco treat, Rice-A-Roni.
Exactly.
Yes.
Comrade Bill, What are some of the bands that you have enjoyed listening to in the past year?
So Blackridge, who is a local Pittsburgh band,
Yeah.
they're kind of rock, they're kind of jazz, they have soul, there's funk in there, and they say that their shows are like from age 5 to age 99, and I would agree with that. I've been to a couple of their shows, and I have seen little kids dancing, and I have seen people that are probably old enough that they shouldn't be dancing.
Very interesting. What it is, as you say, funk?
So it's kind of like blues and soul together. It's hard to describe. It's
Something we hear called Russian junk. Russian junk, we say. Comrade Bill, have you ever heard of any of these Russian rock bands? Pussy Riot, Ivan and the Terribles, the Cossacks, Katrina and the ICBMs, Vladimir and the Sputniks, KGB, or Putin and the Revolution?
the first one.
Very good, comrade. You do not know
That's
what
really
you're
it.
missing out. The American people just think Russian people not know how to rock and roll. That's just nonsense. They think we can't make missile nonsense, can't make vodka nonsense, potato soup nonsense. Anyway, Comrade Bill, what is the best borscht you have ever had before or after a show?
I know where that question came from. I've never had borscht actually.
Igor, that never borscht. Comrade Bill, ever had vodka?
Yes, but
Ever have a Russian hooker like Trump?
no, definitely not.
No. I'm having headphone problem here.
American headphones.
American, the cheap stuff, they come from Korea. Who they kidding? They think they want to think us think they make it themselves.
That made
Yes.
me that makes me think of the line from the movie Armageddon where they're trying to put the ship back together, and they say U.S. parts, Russian parts, all made in Japan.
That's probably true, comrade, because we buy some ourselves and we get the Chinese stuff also just to keep them off our back. All right, comrade, we'll make it easy on you. Where's the best pizza you've had before or after a show?
So, on my way to the Rock for Life shows, there's a food truck called Route 66 Barbecue and Wood Fired Pizza. And
That's very long name to get on side of truck, comrade.
Yes. The website though is route66bbq.com. So that's short at least.
BBQ, as Americans say, they cook meat to its black and pour sauce on the meat to disguise taste of blackened meat.
Correct, exactly.
Correct. Very, they say Texan yeehaw thing to do.
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
And then there's also a wood-fired pizza truck that is sometimes at some of the local shows called Hot Ash Pizza. And between those two, I really like wood-fired pizza, in case you can't tell. Those two go.
We have a nice wood-fired peasant truck that deliver pierogi and borscht sometime. If you ever come over here, as Comrade Bill, you're invited to Moscow anytime you want. We give you a hotel room without two-way mirror to be comfortable.
I appreciate that.
Comrade Bill, are shows like The Voice, American Idol, the Grammys, the real representation of American music today?
I don't believe so. In fact, I can't even tell you the last time I watched The Voice or the Grammys or anything like that, unless someone from the local scene is involved. Aubrey Birchall is currently on one of them. I can't remember which show right now. But when that happens, then occasionally I'll tune in just to see how that person is doing. But generally, I think the underground, the local scene, is usually nowhere near what you're going to hear on commercial radio, because commercial radio, they're force feeding you what they think you should want to listen to. And personally, I like to hear the new up and coming stuff that isn't on commercial radio.
So, Comrade Bill, how does the American musician fight back against corporate greed and monopolization of music industry in the United States?
I don't think there's a way to win that battle, but
is that what they have? The iTunes, Spotify, Reverb Nation, the Apple Music for?
Well, the problem with those streaming outlets is the outlets are making all the money, and well, the outlets and the publishers and the actual musicians get very, very little money in return from the streams. Some of them there's lots. It's like 0.0000000, and then there might be a number.
We have more in common than you think, because the music set up here in Russia pay out same amount to state. You're just like us, comrade. Just like us, comrade. Yes. Enjoyable. Comrade Bill, who is the band you love to hate?
Ooh. Wow, that's a good question.
It is a good question. Everybody has band, maybe love-hate relationship. You love to hate, but you still look like, as you say, a train wreck, car crash.
So for me,
Nostrovia,
I have an answer for this, and normally I wouldn't, but I heard Post Malone on the radio.
Post Malone, the basketball player,
No, not Karl Malone, Post Malone. And I immediately Googled it so that I knew never to listen to him again. It was
that's what you get when you have free speech, comrade. You get the Post Malone lacking at the chops. Lacking, just out to get own publicity to probably sell sneaker cologne or something. Comrade Bill, what is your guilty pleasure music you like to listen to that people might be shocked by?
So we mentioned like old school country earlier. Things like Dolly Parton, which I'm sure everyone's gonna be like, what did he just say? And Kenny Rogers,
blonde hair, the old American big honk country singer, correct?
Yes, that's her.
Has a land named after her, like Dolly Land, capitalist type enterprise.
Yes, Dollywood.
Dollywood, Elvis Wood, Hollywood. Do you have a wood out there too, Mr. Bill?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Although I did used to work in an amusement park called Kennywood.
Kennywood. Kenny got wood. Why not you have wood?
Let's see. Kenny Rogers would be another, like old school. Like Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash, American prisoner who do music for repentance of sin. Correct. Johnny Cash. Yeah.
And then
you go everywhere, man. Ain't not been to Moscow. You invited Johnny Cash wherever you are. Okay, comrade. Comrade Bill, questions now from our listeners. We asked them to send in this week for you. Comrade, in Russia, one band goes out to opener sometimes, seldom with two bands. Why do American bands cram 5-6 bands into one night for 25 minutes set, as they say?
I don't know the answer to that. And I think the further you get away from the big cities, the less that happens.
Interesting.
My experience with Pittsburgh,
Duisburg, we have on map.
especially Carson Street, the weirdest thing there. There's that exact scenario where you put a bunch of bands together and they play small sets, and then there's a bar, another venue right next to it doing the exact same thing. So
Yeah.
you're killing your own crowd because they have lots of choices on where they can go, and they can leave one establishment and go to another one and watch a completely different show.
American corporate capitalism, Igor, they like bed hop. They go to bar and listen to music there. We must establish something like this here, I would think. Thank you for that idea, Comrade Bill. We will look into that in the future. Comrade Bill, Russian bands get good exposure on Russian bandstand show. Where do American established bands play on television? Doesn't seem like American MTV plays music anymore.
Wow. So sometimes on PBS you can find some local musicians.
What is just PBS, Puny Broadcast Company?
I think it's public broadcast system, I think is what it stands for.
Oh, so any random crazy American can go on and spout mouth about politics and sports and other types of pickup truck material, I suppose, and tires. Nice.
I do know that coming in January, there's going to be an online streaming station called Music from the 412. It's musicfromthe412.com that will be streaming 24/7. And it's going to be all local unsigned bands. There will be various TV shows that are based on the local music scene and just music videos, kind of like MTV used to be.
That is good. That is good for cultural development between two nations that we would like to share in future with the Russian audience. So we do appreciate that. Comrade Bill, if you were in a band as a musician, where would be your dream location or club to play at?
So I've never been to Red Rocks, and that's kind of one of my bucket list items is to see a concert there. But I guess if I was in the band, I would love to play at Red Rocks.
Red Rocks looks very much like Afghanistan from when I served my time. That beautiful country. Okay. Comrade Bill, if you could play any instrument well enough to join band on tour, who would you go out with? Comrade Bill Domino going to join so-and-so being national headline news overnight. Comrade Bill joins.
Wow. I would national, so it's got to be a big band.
Plenty of decadence to choose from, Comrade.
If we're going decadence, it'd be Motley Crue. But
Motley, the boys that dress up like the girls, Igor, and they come up with the.
But maybe I think.
I cannot see you, Comrade Bill, in that type of, you say, hairband fashion look. Maybe we like to see that on you.
I'd have to wear a wig because there's no hair.
Yeah, half the Russian girl wear wig, so why not? I think half American girl wear wig. I think African American girl wear weave and wig and all kind of wong and etc. So,
I think another band that I might I think Lynyrd Skynyrd would be fun to go out on tour with too, and plus, like very few of them are actually original members, so I would fit right in.
So you would like to go out and Leonard Skinner, the American hillbillies and rednecks who like to drink and party all night, smoke weed and drive in van and wreck aircraft, correct?
Oh, yeah, that's a very good point. I don't really fit in that band.
Sweet home Alabama, mosquitoes, rednecks, football, as they say, football. Hypothetical question, Comrade Bill. If you were 15 years old and you had $1,000 spending money and your parents went out of town for 2 weeks and you could ride in minivan with groupies, who would you follow?
Ooh, which band would we follow?
At age 15, comrade, we want to know where your young, lustful life would have taken you then and then with $1,000 with groupies to see Musica.
So I definitely at 15, I would have been following Kiss or Poison.
Why am I not surprised, Igor?
Da.
Da. Comrade Bill, same question, age 30. You've matured now. You're still decadent rock and roller. You have $1,000. You can go out and van with groupies. Age 30, who you going to roll with, as they say?
So aged 30, I would probably be hanging out with more local bands at that point. So probably let me think, there was a local band called Cage. It was Kaj. And I did kind of do that. My wife and I followed them around all over the place. Cage or Doppler Effect or Hybrid, one of those bands.
Very interesting. Igor, you notice how at age 30 American, no testosterone to go out and van with groupies for they want to stay local. Oh, okay. Comrade Bill, have you ever had one night decadent stand with groupie?
No, I have not.
No. Comrade Bill not had no groupie fun. You must come to Russia. Go into with some Russian band, see some fine Russian, women.
Local sister.
Yeah, da, see, sister. Comrade Bill, you could live in New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Nashville. Why do you live in Leechburg? Is it because it's too small to target with ICBM?
Well, see, here's the thing. Since you brought that up, Vandergrift, which is only a couple miles from here, was in World War II was a target that they just didn't hit. So it's definitely not that.
Interesting.
My family's from this area, and much like the people in Pittsburgh don't like to cross bridges, I didn't want to leave anybody behind.
Very, very interesting answer. We do look research years ago in 50s for the ICBM target on Pittsburgh during the Cold War, of course, but now much nicer times between two nations. Comrade Bill, what is your favorite thing about the Leechburg? Is it like shopping for leeches, fishing for leeches, hunting for leeches?
No, it was named after David Leach. That's where that
David Leach.
It's still like a small town, but it's close enough to Pittsburgh and its suburbs that I can still get out and do things that I would be able to do in the city.
Good answer, like a fine Russian suburb, I'm sure. Comrade Bill, what year did the building the scene start, and where do you see it in the 5 year?
Well, officially it started at the end of 2017, but it has actually morphed from couple different projects, and those projects started way back in 2004, and it really has morphed. It started out as just a website, then it turned into the Pennsylvania Rock Show, and now it is radio, 24/7 radio, video, podcasts.
Da, da.
I also do websites and EPKs and photography. So it just keeps, if it's music related and doesn't involve playing an instrument or singing, I will probably learn it and make it part of Build the Scene.
Very interesting, comrade. By where I look research, I look into KGB file for dossier on Mr. William Domino, and it says Comrade Domino, owner, Building the Scene administrator, First Angel Media, teacher, photographer, podcaster, technology teacher, likes to wear pink tutus when no one is looking, studied the Spanish at the Slippery Rock Universidad, married to Kelly, roughly 21 years, secondary education, Ghana Universidad, a fan of pinball. Is this correct?
Fan of pinball. So I'm gonna dispute the fan of pinball thing and the pink tutus, but the rest of it was pretty spot on.
Comrade Bill, I just find something on the Facebook like page about pinball. We are much sharper than you think, comrade.
I have a friend I graduated with that used to run a pinball group. That's probably what that is.
Ah, okay. Comrade Bill, if you could have dinner with 3 historical figures, living, dead, or dead, who would you have to dinner and why?
Historical figures. Okay.
Historical figure. Of course, you would like to meet Lenin, Stalin, Brezhnev, probably.
All right. So those 3 are off the table then, right? Those are default answers.
Okay, comrade, it's your question to answer. So sure, yeah.
I think I would like to have dinner with oh man,
Sophia Viagra. That's who I've seen lately go on American television, like to have dinner with.
Neil Bogart, who ran Casablanca Records. Because
sounds like a pimp name. I'm not sure who this person is, but perhaps you could better explain to audience how we may know this Bogart.
So he was the owner of Casablanca Records, which was the record company that gave Kiss their start. I think
Igor, this man is much into kissing tonight, eh? Continue, Comrade Bill. I'm sorry for interruption. Decadence.
Wow. Being on the other end of this question makes me question if I'm going to ask it anymore.
Okay, comrade, how about we limit the question to just people who are dead?
People
being
who are
it's what Americans call a holiday coming up, got the Halloween or something.
Yes.
Halloween. Okay, so in the spirit of American holiday Halloween, we will have you answer 3 dead people to have dinner with and why.
Okay, so
we can kill some people for you to have dinner with if you need to, comrade.
No, I'm good.
You just say words.
Let's see who else. Dead. Maybe John Lennon of the Beatles. And I'm not a huge Beatles fan, but they really set the stage for where music is today as far as rock. And I kind of would like to know what he thinks about where rock has gone. I mean, Paul McCartney is still living it, but what would John think about today's music? And then
John Lennon, KGB dossier, right? Imagine all you need is love. Hippie dreamer, live in an apartment in New York City, right? Much decadence, correct?
That's him.
Correct. Okay.
And then let's see, third one.
How about the Napoleon or the Tsar, the Attila the Hun, Gandhi, Oli, or just Pele, or astronaut John
I,
Glenn.
I think Gandhi would be fun to speak with.
I
Just
have a feeling, Comrade Gandhi not eat much at dinner, but you knock yourself out, I'm sure. You probably get a little
can-
patty, a little rice.
I can handle it for both of us, I'm sure.
That's what your dossier says too, Comrade Bill. So, it is American decadent holiday called Halloween coming, Comrade, where
Yes.
people dress up like the dead and beg for candy from the living. Explain. I do not understand why free willed people want to dress up and act like dead people. That's such decadence, and they do it for candy. Explain, Comrade.
Okay, so it's actually based on pagan holidays, and a lot of the United States and Christian holidays are based around pagan holidays because they used it as a way to convince pagans whose lands they were taking over to convert to their religion.
One
This-
man's pagan is another man's peasant. So I can
So-
relate, but we have more holidays maybe to the state. And from what I hear about America, many federal holidays, days off with pay, may be more necessary than the state require. Correct, comrade?
Correct.
Yes.
So
Can't fool Ivan Federico, KGB retired, no. Comrade Bill, what will you be for Halloween? What will Comrade Bill dress up for Halloween and go out and pay homage to the decadent dead and beg for candy?
so
Give me
I-
candy, trick or treat.
I am not actually going to be trick or treating,
But
but I will be dressing up as Gru from the Minions at school.
Igor, I think minion, big round thing with big eyes and funny feet. Okay, comrade. Interesting. Comrade Bill, what are some of your lesser known hobbies that you like to partake in? Are you a
Really?
stamp collector, butterfly, fly fish, shoot peasant?
So really the music end of things is my hobby. I spend my I'm actually a teacher, and then all the website and photography and podcasting, that's really all my hobbies. I used to be a stamp collector when I was a kid, but honestly that got kind of boring.
Do you still keep your stamp collection in your possession, or did you sell that years ago to be capitalist?
I have no idea where that is. I do, however, have all of my hockey cards still in storage.
Hockey, yeah. Russians like hockey. I think in your area there's the history of Russian players playing for the team they call the Penguin. There's
Yes.
Sergei Goncha and Darius Kaparitis and Engvende Malcolm.
Yes.
Traitors to
And
the
there was-
Soviet Russian hockey player who come here because of capitalism for the almighty American dollar, correct?
Correct. We
Correct.
also had Morozov, but he didn't work out so well.
Morozov, yeah. He in the work camp in Siberia now. Da. Nostrovia. Nostrovia some more. Nostrovia. Major Igor like everybody. Major Ivan here like everybody too. Okay, Comrade Bill, we're getting down. Comrade, when streaming music or selling music online, how do American artists How much do American artists give percentage to the state-wise?
Oh,
90%, like a good Russian musician citizen. So
I
your $10 American Russian musician makes a 99 cent in Russian ruble.
I don't actually know what the percentage is, but I would assume that it's like the sales tax, which depending on where you are is only a small portion. Like where I am, it's 6%.
6%. Oh, they make fine Russian comrades, Igor. Da. Comrade Bill, how do you handle the issue of censorship regarding what you play?
So being that I teach at a Catholic school, I do have to keep a little tighter control over what I play. And I'm very upfront with that, as you probably know.
I know. I just listened to show last month to do education for cultural exchange, comrade. I told you, like, we do not hear music. My ego was telling me, you got to hear new American music. It's not stuff like Let's Go to the Hop anymore or Free Bird, yeah. It's new stuff. So we start to tune in recently and want to contact an exchange of cultural music.
Well, speaking of that, I think you have a track that you were going to play. Do you want to tell us about that?
I have a track I am going to play. It's your show, Comrade Bill. Tonight you're exposing us to American music. So whatever decadent you want to play for audience, and it's late night Moscow here, so there may be only 10, 15,000 listen now. You play what you want, comrade.
Okay. So we're going to play a track called Mary Morgue by the mighty Casey.
Oh, mighty Casey, enemy of the state. Fought at Stalingrad 1942, Yugoslavian peasants 43 to 45 immigrated to the west, joined OSS, stole Russian MiG, flew to Korea, stole Soviet submarine, beached in Greenland for recovery operations, tried to assassinate President Putin, stole Su-22, flew to Japan, Foxbat, enemy of the state is comrade.
Sounds like he was the right choice.
Yeah, there you got the dossier for Bidomino, the dossier for Mighty Casey dossier.
That makes sense that mine's a sheet of paper and his is a full-fledged novel.
As you said, TROUBLU, trouble. Cossack. Please go on, comrade. Play us some decadence. Okay. And happy Halloween to all your American candy gobblers.
All right, so for those of you that have never watched the Pennsylvania Rock Show, what's happening now is we're pretending like we're playing the song, and it'll be edited in later. You can find it at buildthescene.com on Friday. And I'm going to be quiet, and the Major is going to bring us back into the show and ask some more questions.
Comrade Bill, are you ready for some more questions before we close the sessions in the Radio Moscow? Is getting late, so
I have about 15, well, probably about 10 more minutes.
Okay, comrade, we'll do our best to stretch out your decadent time. We might have to target this gentleman for ICBM. Comrade, I was looking at the landscape and history of city of Pittsburgh. I noticed something about the sports team's emporium and nickname Pirate and Steal. What kind of decadent city is this where people pirate and steal?
So
American decadences just seem to be everywhere. We were happy, we steal, we pirate, we're Pittsburgh.
So it's steel as in the iron alloy steel that.
Oh, we know. Years ago, they stopped making steel in Pittsburgh, comrade. They don't even make Iron City beer in Pittsburgh no more. No more Heinz ketchup. No more Spam. No steel. I think Pittsburgh now medical city, as they say. You get shot here, get shot there. Here, rehab there, test, and your colonoscopy, and here's your insurance card, comrade. Pittsburgh, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay, comrade Bill. I was looking at some of the playlists of the decadent artists that you play at your station. We have 6 Beat Kill, Crooked Ways, Homicide Black, Tyrant, Modern Welfare, Kill Frenzy, Murder for Girls, God Hates Unicorns, and no God, no unicorn, and the decadent Mighty Casey. No wonder American music is censored here, Igor. Decadence on a sheet of paper. You play.
That sounds like
Heads would roll if you were here. Heads would roll. Put you in Siberia so quick your head will spin, comrade.
I was just talking to the 2 singers of God Hates Unicorns and telling them that I had to limit the amount of times my daughters can hear their music. So you're right. That's pretty much what would happen.
Igor, somebody should tell these people that no God, this is a state and there ain't no unicorn. Somebody put a cone on the horse head and take picture. Well, interesting. Any questions you would like to ask us from your end, Comrade Bill, about Radio Moscow or the Russian music scene? Because we have completed our interview with you.
How long have you been on the air? On Radio
I've been
Moscow?
on the air 17 years on Radio Moscow. This is episode 1654. Music with the Major.
Are you still currently in the military?
No, I am not, comrade. I am KGB retired and still proud to wear the uniform from my time of service for mother country. Plus, it helps to pick up the women, as you say in America. Yeah, girl, come see uniform. I show you good time. Comrade Bill, I know a little bit about America, and when one of my hobbies is I go out to comedy club in Moscow and I imitate Americans, Canadians, English people, Indian people that I see on TV. Like, for example, this is Frank from the Police Benevolent Fund. We'd like to ask you if you'd like to donate this year to the police fund. Or I would like to do the other American we know of. Hello, this is Haji. This is from Microsoft. Your computer has a virus. You need to contact us immediately. 1-800-956-9. Or the English folks, they're like, how do you get 250 Irish people into a car? Well, you use a blender, mate.
That one does not sound like a scam phone call. Where'd you hear that one at?
It's not a scam phone call, mate. This is when I go out to do show and I do the English comedy with the English accent, and they are like, "Hey, Mike, why don't you pass me a fag and buy me a Guinness, won't you?" Eh? But I recently, due to honor of being on show near Pittsburgh, been working on, as you'll say, Yinzer accent.
I absolutely have to hear that.
You all want to go down to the corner of the store and hop in and get some chipped ham, and then we'll hang out and watch the Steelers.
That was decent.
It is sometime at comedy club I do the Texans and yeehaw, come on down for grits and barbecue Billy's, hey-ha! We love you American people in Russia. You bring us so much joy through your comedy shows. It's bad that we don't have, they say, better relationship.
Have you spent any time near Pittsburgh?
Oh, yes. In the 1950s, I crossed the country and part of Canada, doing missile targeting for Cold War. And fortunately, comrade, we never had to shoot these things up. And personally, I doubt that half of them would have worked or even made it over the Atlantic Ocean. So, as they said, Nostrovia. One for you too, comrade. Wait, comrade, I'm starting to see two of you. So let me do another one, comrade. In comrade, Nostrovia City, Pittsburgh, Lynchburg, Prie, Rockshire, listeners, building the scene, Nostrovia from Moscow Radio. Major Ivan Fedorkov, KGB retired, reporting for duty.
All right, so I'm just about out of time.
I shall say so, Igor. We got ICBM targeted on Leesburg. Happy Halloween, comrade. No, we just kidding. We like you. Nostrovia.
So what I want to do real quick is just tell everybody where they can find episodes of my shows, if that's okay with you.
That is great, comrade. We enjoyed having you for special guest on Radio Moscow. Music with the Major, much more than you realize. Thank you so much.
So if you go to buildascene.com and hover over podcasts, you will see the Pennsylvania Rock Show, 3 questions and a song. You will also find Friendly Fire, which is a live show that happens on xrpradio.co.uk. It is live out of Scotland. And there are a couple other shows that are there that don't happen anymore, but you can still go listen to them. We also have a radio station on our site. It's buildascene.com/radio. And that's probably it.
Nostrovia, listeners. Nostrovia. Decadence in America. So much decadence. I must come there very soon. I must get out of here. Please take up what they say, page to raise money to get Major out of Russia. Please. All the women look like dogs with bag under eyes. They're not no good unless they're hooker in Moscow. Please help. Please help. Please send money.
If you make it over here, I will give you some time on Build the Scenes radio station to do a show.
Likewise, Comrade Bill, if you make it to Radio Moscow, we will have you in studio to play live decadent rock and roll anytime you want to come.
Thank you. All right. With that said, this has been episode number 642 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show, coinciding with
Major Ivan Fedenko, KGB retired, Radio Moscow.
What you're going to hear now is some more of the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer. You will hear John, the American Hill, Jack Lane tell you how to subscribe, leave comments, and other things. When that happens, you'll know the episode has ended. Do not tune out of the radio station you're listening on, because you never know. You might hear your new favorite unsigned and independent band. And with that, we will see you next week.